Welcome everybody to this Company Fears 3 cast. This time I would like to show you the setup between the Wehrmacht and the US forces, because lately I felt like the US forces are just broken, and when people are playing the infantry support center as well as the armored battle group, then it's horribly overpowered. On the other hand, I remember that I successfully used to fight this strat, at least with the Wehrmacht. And then I needed to reconsider, wait a second, is it really true that the US forces are overpowered? Could I be wrong because I'm a little bit rusty? Thus I decided to practice the Wehrmacht a little bit again, and finally I found a match against PutPut, AusarTheVile, one of the best players, certainly, even though he is just rank 69 currently with the US forces, but with many other factions he's rank 1 or 2 or stuff like that, and with that I think he's one of the best players out there. So I thought, okay, that is a pretty good setup to figure out whether the US forces are as OP as I thought they could be. And yeah, I decided to go full Wehrmacht meta, no matter what the map is, no matter what the enemy is going for. So I just instantly picked the mechanized battle group and went for several MGs and stuff like that. So the regular Wehrmacht build at the moment. Yeah, and with that I would like to give it a try, so that we can see what mistakes may have done, or which plays were played well. And, of course, we would like to figure out whether the US forces indeed are that overpowered. So, why this replay? I remember this replay to be exactly what I expected it to be, so I think AusarTheVile went for the full US forces meta, and so did I. So, let's enjoy some full meta build. Or full meta builds, full meta play. Look at that he is making use of the outer room capture action. So do I. So both of us are trying to save some seconds during capturing. I'm going for this 10 times fuel point, of course.
An MG42 team is ready.
And then the first MG42. So far I didn't pick any battle groups, but I will go for the mechanized battle group because, yeah, I think, in my opinion, that is at the moment the most strongest Wehrmacht battle group, or the meta battle group for Wehrmacht. Well, at this very moment I was a little bit confused. I thought maybe I could cap this 16 times ammunition point over there with these engineers. But I decided, hey, let's try to build up some sandbags. That was a mistake, because I didn't follow with my MG. She was capping the 5 times 3 point over there. And I decided to instant retreat so that I won't take any damage. And as I expect him to access one of these buildings, I decided to park my MG behind these this pile of hay, so that I have a little bit of green cover. Alright, and PutPut AusarTheVile indeed went for the armored battle group apparently. Yep, and went for the Willis Jeep. So that's the classic Wehrmacht opener at the moment. This first engagement over here was yeah, interesting, because he decided to search some green cover for himself. Even though I think these guys were superior to the engineers at long range, because they are just having this MP40. Since he decided to fall back a little bit, I used this opportunity to soft retreat and build up some green cover over here and capture the munition point at the same time. MG repaired the Willis Jeep. Second MG repaired these guys. Okay. So far, so good. Now, however, the situation is becoming a little bit spicy. 2 riflemen squad over here, they will be able to easily flank this MG, however, they still take some seconds to successfully engage, but the second MG is already engaging for me, so most likely they will be successful. And I think I will win this engagement, because 2 engineers now are too strong for these squishy scouts. Some bomb-created yellow cover over here from MG. These riflemen are garrisoned. They are exiting this building and got pinned. Right over here, I just try to deal some damage. MG at the northern area of the map is engaging as well. Ooh, and this MG now got outflanked. Retreat! Ooh, that could be a very scarce retreat. But I think he's a little bit focused on my MG, right? So that mostly won't be a wipe? No, they're both coming away. That is very good. Meantime, over there, there's nothing spicy going on. But here, the Willis Jeep is fighting my engineers, and both are pretty low already. But I'm having the green cover advantage, and the Jeep is taking a lot of damage. 2 modest kills so far, that's not too much. Also, the experience gain so far is not... It's not too much, so... And can't chase me because of the grins, okay. Alright, so far, what did we see? The initial engagements with the MGs were pretty successful. I think that was partly due to the fact that I camped over here with one of my MGs, so that I could figure out where his army is, or his units are, so that I could have better engagements, maybe. I think that worked out, because so far, this rifleman squad got pinned quite some time.
We have recovery vehicles ready to take the field.
I think that's also due to the fact that I have 2 of these engineers, or these pioneers, to scout enemy units. This engagement of here is a little bit spicy. Oh no! SMG is setting up. Oh. Now I maybe need to retreat. What's the plan over here? Ah, okay, I tried to go inside. Ah, I remember this situation. I wanted to go inside of this building, but then for some reason the squad decided to go inside of this building. It was a little bit confusing to me. But it was not a problem at all, because I didn't take any additional damage. However, this MG now needs to retreat because he's making use of the Jeep. By the way, I remember when I played the US forces and I went for the Willis Jeep, that was usually against the AK. I remember I never used that unit against the Wehrmacht, because I was always afraid of the Grens and their Shreks, or Fausts, or the Jägers with the Shreks, of course. Anyway, that's the captain. So, this very moment I was convinced that we will see the full US forces meter. They already tagged nades, so I needed to soft retreat this MG a little bit so that I don't take the damage over here.
They've captured a victory point.
In the meantime, I think it's interesting to see that most of the engagements are just focused on one area of the map. So over here there's an engagement, over there is an engagement, but the fighting always takes it's just taking place at one position, like over here in the center of the map at this very moment. Interesting. So for me it looks like he had a hard time to efficiently overcome my MGs. Even though I always consider this map to be a little bit unsuited for MG plays, but it turned out that maybe I was wrong. You see, usually I try to prevent playing MGs or the current Wehrmacht meta on this map because, yeah, because of all these nooks and cranks over here, these buildings and stuff like that. But it turned out that I was wrong, and MG plays are indeed very potent on this map. As you can see, everything got pinned instantly, and the map control for me is very nice, even though he's playing the infantry support center and rifleman. That, however, now is the Greyhound. Already wetted due to the ability. Ooh, this MG coming away. could be scars. But no, I think... yeah, it's fine.
Victory point.
Alright, that's another MG. I think, yeah, going for an anti-tank gun at this very moment. So you see, I think that is always a little bit an issue with the setup against the US force, because either US forces go for the bars, and when you then go for the anti-tank gun, then most likely the US forces will stomp you because you're lacking the anti-infantry firepower. If they are not going for the bars, but surprise you with a M8 Greyhound, and sometimes you can have a very rough time because the Greyhound usually is superior to the Achtrad, for instance, and other early light vehicles like the or medium vehicles like the Wirbelwind, for instance, for the Wehrmacht are also not capable of dealing with the Tier 3 US forces armor, because the Jaffies, for instance, they will just shred these units. I'll try to engage a little bit, but here the intention was just to bait him, because now he knows that the Achtrad is inferior to the M8, but with an anti-tank gun as a backup, and he took the bait. Fortunately, he lost his Greyhound. Alright, so here I was lucky enough to overcome the threat of the gamble, whether he's going for the bars or the Greyhound. He went for the Greyhound, but as soon as I noticed it over here, I went for the anti-tank gun, and it just came out in time, so that I wasn't struggling too much against the Greyhound. Here, fortunately, I now figured out that most of his army is likely engaging over here. So I think, in this very moment, I knew that over here I could engage safely. And cap a little bit of the map. Well. Nice dodge. So, what could the US forces have done better at this very moment? So maybe I think it would have been a better idea to go for the bars instantly. Usually, when Wehrmacht players are going for the Wehrmacht meta with the Achtrad and stuff, then they just go for an additional rifleman and deploy the bars as well as the grenade, because riflemen in green cover, they can withstand the Achtrad firepower for quite some time. That's very strong, because you can basically deny the impact of the Achtrad with your rifleman just withstanding behind green cover. So usually I just instantly go for the bars, and then afterwards maybe for the anti-tank gun of the airborne battle group, or from the Spec Ops, even though the Spec Ops anti-tank gun is coming a little bit late sometimes. But if I don't go for these battle groups, of course the Tier 3 is an option with the anti-tank gun. I like the anti-tank gun quite a lot, especially against the Wehrmacht, because as I said, the Wehrmacht is lacking, yeah, let's say, good anti-tank firepower anyway against the US forces. So oh, this MG is a little bit dangerous, but I think it is already going home. Yeah, so I think in my opinion, the bars should have been deployed earlier. Despite from that, still we see the full meta gameplay. Even though the second M8 Greyhound is already pretty low. And I think that was the reason why I decided to go for the second Achtrad, since you went for another M8 Greyhound, and two Achtrads are stronger than Greyhounds again. Alright, so what is happening here? He fully retreated, alright. And, oh, that's the GG. Oh, okay. And the screen turned black. So, yeah. Maybe all my my bad mood against the US forces lately was unjustified. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that was just, oh sorry, maybe that was just a nice little coincidence, or a lucky game. Maybe I was just tired or so. But in this very moment with all these MGs, even on this map, it felt like, yeah, the Wehrmacht could be very strong. On the other hand, I remember a match where I played with the US forces against the Wehrmacht when they used a full MG spam, and it was also a very good player, like rank, don't know, 3 or so in this very moment. So, um, and it worked to outflank the Wehrmacht MGs all the time. So, yeah, still difficult to judge whether this matchup Wehrmacht versus the US forces is balanced or not. But now at least I'm a little bit more relaxed now, because I felt like, okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong and the US forces are not as overpowered as I thought them to be. Maybe I'm wrong again. I have no idea. So, what do you guys think? Was PutPut doing some mistakes? Was he maybe tired? Or is the Wehrmacht meta indeed just stronger than the US forces meta? I don't know. I will proceed playing the Wehrmacht now for a little bit. And then I maybe switch to the US forces to figure out whether other people will use the Wehrmacht meta against me, for instance, and maybe do it successfully or not. Let's see. Anyway, I think that was an interesting match, because I wouldn't even have imagined that I could win against the US forces anymore, but it was possible. So yeah, maybe tell me your thoughts on this matchup, or maybe generally the matchup against the US forces, not just Wehrmacht against the US forces, but maybe also the DAK against the US forces. For me, I think that's at the moment most likely the most interesting setup in Company Fierce 3. Even though pretty soon I think we will see a patch. That will most likely be very nice. Let's see. Anyway, let's say GG, well played. And in the future, let's have a good time, even though we are playing against the US forces. I was wrong. Maybe they are not that overpowered. Let's have a good time. See you guys.
takes plenty of gas, but it has class. Martin don't care, he loves it and it's rare. He's never gonna sell it if it takes all his money, 'cause there's help from his love and honey. Taxes are high, the income is low. No more money for vacation to go. No money for beer, no money for wine, but the woman he loves, and is that so 59? This is the story of a famous car. It's nearly 60 years old so far. Takes plenty of gas, but it has class. Martin don't care, he loves it and it's rare. He's never gonna sell it if it takes all his money, 'cause there's help from his love and honey. Taxes are high, the income is low. No more money for vacation to go. No money for beer, no money for wine, but the woman he loves, and is that so 59? No money for wine, but the woman he loves, and is that so 59?